What's up, Michigan fans? Welcome back to the Maize and Bluebeard podcast, where we talk all things Michigan sports. MWB in the place to be, go blue. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Again, brand new channel, just getting started. Been doing this for less than 2 weeks and I am loving it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow, helps this community grow, and also leave me a comment. I respond to everyone and I'm excited to talk to you down there. We got some big confirmation news of a player that we all assume is back in the fold and is staying here at Michigan, but it's good to see that that is the case. We'll talk some more about how the media is continuing to be high on Michigan and what Kyle Whittingham and his staff are doing, including Joel Klatt. On3 put out their top 100 way too early list of players for next year's college football season. Does Michigan have anybody on it? We'll talk about that too. Of course, we'll check in on the recruiting trail to see where Michigan stands with this year's class and the coming years. And of course, we'll check the results of yesterday's Question of the Day poll. All that and more on this episode of the Maize and Bluebeard podcast. Let's get to it. No news in the transfer portal. Nobody new coming in, nobody leaving, nobody that had left finding a new home. Nothing like that. Nothing that I've heard whispers of. Michigan is continuing to look at how to improve this roster, and they will do just that if the right player comes along. So I have no doubt if there's a player that can help us in the portal, Michigan will locate them and they will bring them home to Ann Arbor. But for now, nothing to report there. But we did get some confirmation for one of our star players that they are, in fact, going to be back in the fold, which we already knew, but it's always good to get confirmation. And I'm talking about star receiver Andrew Marsh. He was spotted today as winter conditioning kicked off with teammates, working out and putting in the work to get ready for what I think is going to be an amazing season for him next year. So it's just good to see him there. Again, all the LFG stuff, I'm returning, all that was awesome, but players don't have to announce anything, so he doesn't have to do anything. Michigan doesn't have to do anything. There's nothing that says it has to be done, but it's just good to see him with the team, working out, taking part in things, and that's awesome. He's going to have one heck of a year. So anyone that's been hanging on to concern about Andrew Marsh because you never saw an LFG, I'm returning thing, don't. He's locked in. He's doing what he needs to do so that he can have a beast year. So he can go full beast mode next year like we all think he will. Michigan continues to be a darling of the media and the news. First of all, last video I talked about some way too early top 25s that Michigan was mentioned in. A lot of them were, the lowest they were was 18 with ESPN. Everyone else had them anywhere from 11 to 16, and CBS Sports had them cracking the top 10 at number 9. One of my favorite media personalities and color commentators. I love to watch his show every week on YouTube, and anything he puts out. I just love his takes. I love his character. Awesome guy. And that is Joel Klatt from Fox. Love him. Love watching his stuff. But he put out his way too early top 10. And Michigan was in there, baby. He had Michigan coming in at number 9. It's exciting to see so much praise coming from all these different media sections. And they're excited, and they're talking about how dynamic the offense could be. They're talking about how great Jay Hill's defense could be. They're talking about how all these pieces, if they can come together, which they think they will, and that they're going to be a really good team, even with that crazy schedule they have next year, that they can make something happen and be one of the top teams in the country. That's exciting. And you know, as fans, take a step back. Do you know what they're not saying? They're not saying, oh, they've got some really good pieces in offense, but that linebacker room's a little shaky. I don't think they're going to go 7-5, 8-4. Terrible year. They didn't do enough. They're not saying, that defensive line has potential, but I don't see a superstar in there. And John Henry Daly, he's probably going to be hurt and miss the year. So they didn't do enough. They didn't do enough. Terrible year. They're going to go 6-6. Whittingham's out the door. No, they're not saying any of those things. Because think about it like this. We're all football fans, right? We have watched maybe the Lions or whoever your NFL team is, or in college if you follow Michigan or anybody else as well. A lot of times, sometimes maybe you have a brand new starter at quarterback, or you have some new starters on the offensive line, and you're like, oh, the offense is going to need some time to get it together, right? So the defense is really strong. They're going to have to carry them for a little bit and lock down while they figure things out. Or vice versa. The offense is flying. Defense is going to have to figure things out. So the offense is going to have to make sure they put up some points. Teams cover each other, right? Whole sides of the ball, but also within position groups. I don't think any of us are worried that much about the secondary. I think the secondary is going to be a strength, which is great. As the front seven kind of, we figure out who our guys are going to be. Now that doesn't mean that they're bad and they're going to need time to get things figured out. But my point is, sometimes if you have some, I wouldn't even call them deficiencies, but if you have some areas that you're unsure about, the areas of strength can cover that. So if we're putting up points and we're controlling the clock and we're running the ball, and if the secondary is covering people like madmen, like I think they will, and flying around, it's going to make the front seven's job a lot easier. Well, technically, right, it's going to make the front easier. However, the defense goes, it's going to make the front six job, right? A 3-3-5. Sometimes they do the 4-3. But anyway, my point is the media is hyped about Michigan, and we need to stop holding on to our concerns at linebacker and defensive line because we didn't get a star player from the transfer portal. And we need to look at it as a whole and see that people from the outside looking in are not that concerned about that. They trust this coaching staff and they see the potential in those rooms, and they see the already there talent everywhere else, and they're excited about us even with a tough schedule. So that should make us feel really good. And speaking about feeling really good, On3 put out their way too early top 100 players of 2026. Michigan had 3 players in there. The 3 players they had were, at number 13, they have returning veteran cornerback, our number 1 CB, Jair Hill. They talked about how efficient he was. They have him listed as the second best defensive back, cornerback in the country next year already. Way too early, but still. And I think a lot of us got down on him because we saw him make some mistakes or he got burned here and there, but he was always going up against the best receivers on the other side. 1. 2, there was not, despite having those big names on the defensive line and linebacker, we didn't get much pass rush, right? So they got left on an island a lot of the times with the quarterback having all day to throw. So, and we had a lot of youth back there, a lot of youth stepping in at safety, and sometimes they missed their assignment, and they would not have the over-the-top health they thought they would have. So there's a lot of things that go into it, and let's be honest, the coaching was not good from the head coach down. So he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of experience, and now he finally has a really good coaching staff coaching him up, and I expect him to take a huge leap and be an elite cornerback next year and have an amazing season, the kind of cornerback 1 season we're used to in the past, and I think he's going to be a high NFL pick after the season is done. Moving down the list, our next Michigan player is number 30, and that is Jordan Marshall, who I think is going to have one heck of a year. I love watching him run. He is so quick, but he doesn't look like he is. But he has such good vision. He knows how he can just weave into holes and then he hits it and he's gone. And if he's not gone, if you're going to try to tackle him or you're going to step up to hit him, he's going to run you over because he is a beast. I cannot wait to watch him. He has done so fantastic his first 2 years at Michigan. And I can't wait to see what this year brings. And finally, at number 60, a transfer portal get on the defensive line, John Henry Daly was in there at number 60. So, I mean, he was electric and amazing and just other level last year before he got hurt. He says he's going to be back. He's dedicated, motivated, and I think he will. And, you know, if they need to rotate guys for a while he gets his legs under him, they will. They'll keep him fresh. They won't overdo it, but I think he's going to be a beast. I really do. And that's awesome that he's in there. So 3 players in the top 60, nobody in the rest up to the 100. Was there anybody that you think got snubbed? Let me know in the comments. I mean, obviously you think, oh, Bryce should have been there. Jamie French should have been there. Buchanan should have been in there. The offensive lineman should have been in there. You know, all these guys. Why weren't they in there? But some of that is just bias and being homers because we love all these players. But I do think there's one player that I'm surprised wasn't in there when you talk about the top 100 is Smith Snowden. He really produced and looked great at Utah, and I think he's going to be awesome for us. So interesting that he wasn't in there, but it's tough. I mean, the fact that we got 3 players in the top 100 is pretty awesome. And who knows? We might have even more when they do their top 100 players once the season's going. We shall see. Now onto recruiting. Michigan continues to add to this current 2026 class of players coming in, and they snagged the kicker that I mentioned in yesterday's video. He signed today, Jacob Baguette, number 8 kicker in the country coming in the recruiting class. He went 6 of 7 on field goals for the year and hit a 48-yard long. Just a great kicker, great player. Kerry Combs is killing it. And some people can say, wow, we already have a kicker, but you need another one in case of injury. And also just if the other kicker goes through a stretch where he's in his head and he needs to sit down for a while. You know, kickers, they start missing them and they start pressing. You just never know. Or maybe one of them does kickoffs, one does field goals, maybe one does short field goals, long. Maybe they use them both. Or you just have a kicker ready to go as a backup. So awesome stuff. Maybe he'll just redshirt this year, and then he'll end up being able to be our kicker for 2 years once Bukowski leaves. Who knows? But I think it's a smart move, and we didn't have another kicker, so now we do, and that's awesome. And P.S. Look at the kid. He looks like Zac Efron, doesn't he? I mean, that's what I thought. Looks like High School Musical up in here. But awesome stuff. And they continue to just heat up and scorch the recruiting trail. They're just tearing it up on the recruiting trail, and people are taking notice and getting excited. And I think they're going to make sure that some of these areas where we had depth we weren't sure of, we're not going to worry about anymore going forward because they're going to stack it up. So yeah, they're just doing a great job. I'm really impressed, and I can't wait to see what they continue to do. But the big news was getting that kicker, number 8 in the country, 6 of 7. And finally, let's look at the results of the question of the day from yesterday. And I asked who is going to lead the team in interceptions next season. And the winner was the one that got left off the top 100 way too early list, Smith Snowden. But it was close. A lot of people think Rod Moore could take a step and play a full season and show us those ball hawk skills we saw when he was young and loved so much. And I would love that. I would love if he led the team in interceptions. And also Jair Hill got a few votes as well, quite a few votes. But it could be somebody else. There's so many. Chris Bracey is electric. He could do it. Jordan Young, he could do it at safety position too. Mason Curtis, Zeke Berry. One of the young guns that we don't know yet what we have in them. They could do it. Or it could be a linebacker. I mean, my boy Nathaniel Staling in the playoffs in his final game at North Dakota State, biggest game of the year in the playoffs. Not only did he intercept 2 passes, but they were 2 pick sixes. Come on now. Thanks for voting. I agree with you. I think Smith Snowden will probably lead the team in interceptions. Ball hawk, dynamic, playmaker. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Make sure that after this video is done, you go and vote for today's question of the day if you have not yet. And then I'll tell you the results in tomorrow's video. That's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me. Always appreciative and touched to my core when you take the time out of your day to hang out with me and talk Michigan sports. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to vote on the question of the day. And don't forget to leave me a comment. I love to talk to you guys down there. I respond to everyone, so I hope to talk to you down there after the video. But that's going to do it. So have a fantastic day. I'll see you in the next video. And until I do, as always, go blue.